All right, so good morning. We are live for our YouTube recording, and we are live in the live trading room at Stack Trading. So I see everyone hopping on in. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a good weekend. For everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit that subscribe button and that like button so we can get up and running, and let's get started. So I think the first thing that I want to cover today is obviously the hype around Bitcoin. Bitcoin over the weekend broke all-time highs and almost hit 62,000, but we are seeing a pretty significant pullback on Bitcoin. And when I saw that pullback in pre-market, I immediately went to Riot, Mara, CAN, because I knew that these miners were going to get hit pretty hard with Bitcoin pullback. So Riot is going to be on my A list for today. I've already traded pre-market on Riot. I shorted Riot right here on this bull flag at around the 62 range and just covered it below 59 in pre-market. So I'm actually already done with the day, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to take additional trades. Riot, I think there's still going to be more volatility in this, but the trick with Riot, Mara, and all these other miners is that you've got to keep a close eye on Bitcoin's price, right? So Bitcoin at the moment, let me take a look, is at 56,500. I'm looking at it on the 30-minute time frame. It is bear flagging. The high was 61,823, pulled back to as low as 54,653, and we're bouncing a little bit here. So let's see if Bitcoin can hold or if Bitcoin sells off. Because if Bitcoin sells off, you can short Riot, you can short Mara, and all these other ones. So hopefully that paints a good picture on why I'm going to prioritize specifically on Riot. On the daily, Riot is not overbought. It did hit a high a couple of weeks ago at 80 bucks, pulled back to 40 and change, and now it's back to 62. So it's kind of like at the midpoint of that huge rally it had. The RSI is good with pre-market data is at 60, 87. The upper Bollinger Band is at 75. So it's not overbought by any means. It's just going to be price sensitive to what Bitcoin is doing. So with that being said, that's my first stock that I'm going to keep an eye on today. I'm going to keep an eye on Alibaba today. Alibaba is currently bear flagging in pre-market. And the reason why is because the Chinese government, they're really progressing with laying down the hammer, right, on these big tech companies in China. More regulations and putting more stress on these companies from a financial perspective, and from specifically they're focusing on the monopoly, right, or just the dominance that they've got, right, in the market and around the world. So Alibaba has been a name that we've been trading for a while now, and we all know that Alibaba is pretty hurt. I mean, it's trading below its 200-day moving average. It bounced nicely back in December and early January. Bounced nicely from 225. We actually called to swing Alibaba at that time, and it rallied up to 270, where a lot of us took profits. And then look, it came straight back down to where we called to swing it a couple months ago. Alibaba, on the daily perspective, it's getting slammed pretty hard. But it's a really, really good company. I'm not calling to swing it by any means. I'm looking at it from a day trade perspective. Oops, let me remove these lines that I marked up here on my chart. So from a day trade perspective, it's bear flagging. So if Alibaba breaks below like 227.50, you can go and short it and put your stops at like 228.40. So you're risking about $1. But if Alibaba starts to recover, I want to see it recover. It could potentially recover 230, and if the market is really strong, it could potentially go to 231, maybe even gap fill. But I'm going to keep a close eye on Alibaba. I don't like the setup necessarily for a long just yet. It's very spready right now in pre-market. You can see it just did a little pop here. So we just got to wait for it. But Alibaba is going to be on my A list. I just have to see what it does like in the first 10 to 15 minutes. DraftKings is going to be on my A list for today. And the reason why is because DraftKings did a an offering. So they issued out convertible notes, and a part of the deal of the convertible notes is that it can convert to shares, and what that means is that it will dilute current shareholders, which is why DraftKings is pulling back. So if DraftKings continues to sell off, watch for that 68.30 level. If it breaks below that, you can short it. Put your stops at 68.80. You're risking 50 cents on the trade. If DraftKings decides to rally, look for that breakout of 69.55. You can go long. Put your stops at 68.85. So overall, whether it's short or long, you're going to risk about anywhere between like 50 to 70 cents on the trade, right? It's in a nice consolidation zone, so it presents a good opportunity once it makes a decision on which direction it wants to take. Another name that is very similar to DraftKings is Penn National Games. I like Penn National Games. Oops, sorry, I got distracted by a message I got. Penn National is gapping up pretty significantly. Why? They are joining the S&P 500. That's really, really good news for the company and really good news for the stock. It's gapping up pretty significantly. The market and pre-market, let me see here, S&P is pretty much flat, and so is the NASDAQ. So watch the S&P closely today. Typically, when a company joins the S&P 500, it's a buy all day. But if Penn National Games breaks below 137.60, you can look to short it, maybe come down to like 135. That would be my price target on it. I'm not gun hold on the short idea. I'm just gonna watch Penn National very closely. But if we do see that level break, that's my target, 135. If Penn National decides to rally, look for that breakout of 139.40. Then we can possibly test pre-market high of like 141. So that's my idea there. Similar to Penn National, NXPI. It's an expensive stock, but it's gapping up because they too are joining the S&P 500. It's trading very thinly in pre-market. Let me pull up a daily chart here just to take a quick look. Almost all-time highs. All-time highs, let's see, it's at like $200. So watch for this stock. If you guys want to trade it, I'm sure they trade options as well. But if this stock decides to go on a rally, watch that 200 level, because that's all-time highs. And if it breaks out of that, then you can go on a nice run here. But if it decides to sell off, if it breaks like 196, I'm going to go in for a short, put stops at 197. Only risking $1 on the trade. And my price target on this one, maybe we could see, let me take a look at level 2 really quickly, just to see what kind of data that we're printing here. I see buyers at like 194, 193 area. So it could possibly come down to like maybe 193, do a bottoming tail bar, reverse and bounce. Some sort of event like that. So I'm just gonna keep a close eye on it. I think there's a lot of range on it today, which is what I like about it, and it's got good news of joining the S&P 500 along with Penn National. So right there alone, I've got NXPI, Penn National, DraftKings, Baba, Riot. That's 5, and of course I'm always gonna follow my baby Tesla, because Tesla is just it's just a stock that has so much range in it. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on it. One other name that I like is AMC. AMC is gapping up pretty nicely, $1, because they are opening up. They're reopening. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. They're reopening like some of their larger theaters in like the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. So the story behind it is that more theaters are opening up, right? And traders are getting ahead of it by buying into it, because if they're opening up more theaters, more revenue can come in, and kind of things are getting back to normal. So I like AMC for potential trade here. If AMC breaks below $12, if we see weakness in the name, we can go ahead and short it and put stops at 12.15 or so. But if it breaks above like 12.15, 12.20, hey man, go long, and let's look at that first price target of 12.40 pre-market highs. So with that being said, those are like my top 5 to 6 names. I've got some other names that are on my watch list, but we don't have enough time to go over every single name that we're watching on our B list. So let me pass it on to Taj. So Taj can go over his A list, and we go from there. So Taj?
Yeah, so AMC is definitely going to be probably at the very top of my list. Anytime you get stock like AMC, any of the meme stocks moving, especially AMC, one of the cheaper ones, has tight spreads on the contracts. Definitely keep an eye on it. The nice thing about AMC as well is that the high from a couple of days ago, well, a couple of days ago from Friday, was 1247. And if we're able to break out of that 1247 level, we would actually fill the gap here around $13 on AMC. So there's potential that AMC could, really go on a nice run here if it starts to clear those levels. So I would like to see it at least break above 1240 before really thinking about a long. But nonetheless, AMC is going to be in play today. Another stock to be keeping an eye on is SOS. So as soon as we started the live session, there was some news that came out about SOS. Uh, they're actually installing a second fleet of 5,000 cryptocurrency mining rigs. So because of that, SOS, which was initially, taking a little bit of a beating after the gap up that it had, was trading around $6.60. We've rallied nearly a point, about 80 cents already from those lows. So it has had a pretty significant move thus far. So what I would like to happen before thinking of any long is some type of sideway action or a bull flag right around this area. And if we clip that high again, we can look for a play long and throw our stops at the low of day. However, one thing to be cautious of is crypto as a whole. It was taking a beating earlier. Let me actually see what it's doing now. So Bitcoin is currently at, what is this, 56,600. Okay, so Bitcoin is catching a little bit of a bounce here off of the daily A to A. So there is a potential we could, catch a nice rally in Bitcoin. And if we do, this should really confirm the long for SOS. But as of now, we're going to have to be patient with this stock because it has had a pretty significant move in the past 15, 20 minutes. What I do like about it is the volume on it is very, very heavy. If I remember correctly, there are contracts. Yep, there are options contracts available. So it's something that all of us can play. The spread should be pretty tight. So let's keep an eye on it. As of now, like I said, we'd have to wait for some type of bull flag through 740. Throw our stops at the low of day. Currently, it's around 720, and see if we can capture some momentum right out of the gates. Another name I'll be keeping an eye on is, my go-to, Apple. I think the market as a whole is going to be in play today. We're in an interesting point right now. I'm going to bring up a chart of the SPYs at the very same time that I'm going through this. So we're kind of hovering here at the all-time highs on the SPYs, on the Russell as well. The Russell's had a pretty significant pullback off of the highs, the pre-market highs today as well. But if you look at the Qs, the Nasdaq, it's still fairly weak, right? It's still below. It's actually downtrending 20 MA. So that just goes to show that the tech industry as a whole is pretty weak, while some of the small caps are leading the rally in the SPYs. So because of that, I'm not too convinced about this rally in the market, especially if we start to see the Qs getting rejected off of the 20 MA. That has kind of played out the past 2 days. The Qs have had a slight rejection off of the 20 MA. Nothing too significant, but nonetheless, we have had a pullback from that 20 period moving average. So if that momentum continues here in the pre-market session, which as of now, it seems like we're reaching lower highs and lower lows, I would like to see Apple break below 121 before thinking of a short, just to kind of confirm that downside bias. But if it does start to break down below that, I will short it right around this 121 area. Throw my stops around 121.40, 121.50, or whatever the high of day is on an intraday basis, and look for the short. However, if Apple can reclaim, 121.90, 122, we can look for a long. Throw our stops around 121.40 and see if we can, continue that momentum. Maybe test the 20 MA on the daily on Apple. But I am a little more short biased, but nonetheless, not marrying the idea, right? If Apple wants to rally out of the gate, then I'll play it long, no problem. AMC is starting to get a nice pop here. Another name that I like is Neo. Neo's another hot stock we've been trading for the past, about week and a half, off of the big bounce they had down here near the 200 period moving average on the daily. And this morning, it's been a little whippy, right? We had an initial sell-off, then it rallied back, then we had a double top in the pre-market session, and now we had quite a bit of a flush to the downside. So Neo's in a similar position as Apple as well as the Qs, where we have had a rally, but it's nowhere near the highs. It's actually further to the lows than it is from the highs. So Neo is coming to its downtrending 20 period moving average. So the way I see it, if Neo can start breaking below this $45 level, we can definitely look for a short. Throw our stops around 45.50, and there's really no support until around 44.50. So Neo has some range. If it breaks below 44.50, I mean, we could definitely test this around 43.80 level. So there's a lot of range to Neo. The fact that it had the double top during the pre-market section kind of confirms the short bias. However, we are going to need to see some follow through as it breaks below $45. We're getting some selling pressure now. So let's see if we can hold off on that right before the market opens. With that being said, I'll go over the spot.
Hey, Todd, your microphone. Ooh, really bad, really bad. Wow, that was horrible, horrible. That was like Transformers, freaking SEC. We got the feds. The feds are tapping in.
FBI, open up. Oh my God. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can. Holy smokes, bro! I thought.
Dude, I gotta listen to the recording to see what you guys are talking about, because this.
Oh my God! Yo, the feds were tapping in, bro.
Yeah, they're trying to listen to the plays, man. They see the plays being played out. SOS. Look at it. The play is happening right then and there. Feds are buying up the stocks. I hear you guys.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh man. All right, so what was the last part that you guys heard?
I don't even remember. You were still talking about Neo, if I'm not mistaken.
Talking about Neo, okay. So Neo, the short, I have a more so short bias towards Neo as well, similar to the Qs and Apple. So if Neo starts to break below $45, we can definitely look for a short. Throw our stops around 45.50. And there's really no support until the pre-market low around here, 44.50, and then after that, there's nothing until 43.80. So we have quite a bit of room to the downside for Neo if it does sell off. However, if it starts to rally above 45.80, we could attempt it for a long and look for a possible target of the daily 20 MA, which is around 47.57. So there's room to the upside as well. But if I had to take a guess, I would say I think Neo's going to sell off today. But let's wait to see how the market reacts in the open and see how things play out. Another name I'll be watching is Yalla, YALA. The stock recently reported earnings. They beat their earnings, and what I really like about it is the volume is really nice on it. It's gapping up about 4 points? Yeah, about 4 points. And you're getting some nice bull flag action happening here. There are options contracts available for this as well. And it's been trending very nicely off the 8 and 20. So if it can stay right here, we can play it long around 27.68. You can literally just throw our stops at 27.30. So you're looking at about a 30 to 40 cent risk on this play, while there's really no resistance until, $32, somewhere around there, $32. So it has some room to the upside. We are at a pretty pivotal resistance level dating back here on the 2nd of this month. So if we can break out above this level, I think the stock can really go for a run. Like I said, the volume has been decent on some of these candlesticks. So let's see what that can do right out of the gates. Another stock I'll be watching is Ebon, EBON. This stock actually, what was it? There's some talks about this crypto exchange being announced on this exchange. So because of that, Ebon gapped up to initially to $12.58. I think it experienced some of the pullback of the crypto market as a whole because it looks very similar to what SOS was doing before SOS just had the big pop. But nonetheless, it is holding this level down here around 1050. So the way I see it is if Ebon can start trading above 1170, we can definitely look for a long throw our stops around 1130 and see if we can test that pre-market high of around 1258. However, if it does start to sell off, I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable shorting this until around 1050. So you would have to give us some room, probably around $11 to look for a short. But let's see how this wants to act out of the gates with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin starting to catch a pop back to the upside. I think Ebon could be another name to keep an eye on, along with SOS to potentially play to the long side. But other than that, that's pretty much going to be my A-list. I'll definitely be watching some other stocks. I'll be watching GameStop. I'll actually be watching PLTR. PLTR has a decent setup for the pre-market action, so that's going to be on my B list, along with XPEV and Space, and the overall market as well. The triple Qs, the SPYs, and IWM. Keep an eye on those names today because with the SPYs and the Russell being at the all-time highs, there's a chance that we could start to see potentially a double top at the all-time highs. So that's going to be my A and B list for the day, and let's get to it. Market opens up here in about 2 minutes, so
Yeah.
choose some of your lanes and let's get to it.
I do want to throw out one other name. It's a small cap stock. Two names rather. Keep a close eye on WWR. This stock, there's a lot of chatter of it getting bought up from a lot of trading communities that I follow. So keep a close eye on that one. And also look at CHEK. A lot of volume. They've got a FDA approval for one of their colonoscopy, I guess, tools, products, whatever it is that they do. So it's getting bought up pretty nicely. So this could be in play today as well. So with that being said, guys, we have less than a minute before the market opens. Everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you all tomorrow.